Hello, welcome to the vLearning version of 11G 501 BI Publisher for power users. My name is Jasmine Wu and I will be your instructor. For this exercise, we will go over BI Publisher's architecture as well as report definition. BI Publisher is capable of handling a variety of data source types, and among those, just to list a few, are XML, SQL, or data from Excel sheets. For today, what we're going to use is we're going to use SQL as the source type. And once your source type is inputted, the BI Publisher engine will actually convert all of the data into the standard XML format. And from there, we have a template manager or template control that will convert and define your XML data into specific formats, whether that's within the BI Publisher in itself, or whether that's through an external source like Word document or PDF. But you do have options there. Once your data is combined with the specific template, then your report is actually ready to be converted into output types for viewing. And you can see on the right-hand side, in the number 4 bullet here, you can see that the icons there are all the different types of outputs that are available for your document and report. So things like you can see it in PowerPoint, Word, Excel, PDF, etc., even through a web service. Okay. Ultimately, the final output document can then be delivered through different channels like faxing or printing or email. And what I want to emphasize here is two things. First of all, everything can be done within BI Publisher. What you're seeing in front of you, everything can be done within this tool in itself. And the second thing is that there's pixel perfect formatting within the templates, so you have the flexibility to make your report fit to your need more than other tools that you may be using. So now let's talk a little bit about BI Publisher's report definition. Basically, this is just going to explain how your report is defined. So first of all, again, we have our data source types. There's a whole list listed on the slide for you. Once you've chosen your data source type, all of that data is then inputted into a data model where it defines how your data will be extracted from the source. Once everything is being extracted, you have your template, which first you have to define the template type, and you do have multiple types to work with again. And once you put your data model or your data into that template, it defines how the extracted data will be placed around on a page. And these templates are really neat because it gives you the flexibility and convenience to place specific data or specific information the way you need it or the way that you want it. So in a nutshell, we call this pixel perfect formatting. Okay. In specific tools like OBIE, you'll feel like you're a little bit limited to how your information is displayed. And in BI Publisher, you won't feel so much like you can't control your data display. Okay, you can figure out what goes where without having too much boundaries. Once you have your data model and your template, you then create your BI Publisher report, which is the actual definition. And you'll see in that report that it's exactly how you want it defined, exactly the template that you want it for the information to actually show up. So this is, again, a very great tool if you're needing to report it to specific customers with specific needs. Very customizable. Now that you're familiar with the report definition as well as the architecture of BI Publisher, I hope that you're ready to start working and creating that data model. So the first thing we're going to do from here is we're going to actually access the system for you to do your work. So if you received the training manual on page 15, you're able to see a URL similar to the one that you have in front of you. This OBIE, biconsulting.com URL. And once you do have that, you should be able to go back to the email that you received from our administrator, where she would have sent you at the time of registering for the course, your own unique user identification and password. For me, I'm just going to sign in using my credentials. And if you're here, please also do the same. Okay, once you're logged in, you should be able to see a screen, whether that's the home screen or the catalog screen. It'll bring you to a screen like this. I know right now it's a lot to take in, but the first thing that we're going to do once we access the system for the first time, we're going to go ahead and set preferences. And then I'll come back and talk a little bit about the screen that you're seeing in front of you. So to go set that setting preference, we're going to go ahead and come to the right hand side where my mouse is. This will be where you're signed in with your own credentials. It should say your username, and then there's a drop down that says My Account. I'm going to go into that My Account setting, and I should see a screen like this, another pop-up. Okay, and you can see that you have different tabs here that say Preferences, BI Publisher Preferences, Delivery Options, Roles, and Catalog Groups. Okay. This is the screen where you actually set your preferences going forward working in this interface. This is usually what we call the presentation portal or presentation server, however way you want to put it, but it's a user interface for us to do our front-end work, which is where our BI Publisher work is going to be completed as well. So if you set your preferences like your starting page and your language, your time zone, anything that caters to your need. Once you have that set, just hit OK. So again, I just want to emphasize that with those preferences, the default preferences can be set for each user. So sometimes the people actually taking this course, each of you will have your own different type of preferences set. Okay? And so now let's come back to this interface a little bit, and I just wanted to discuss just briefly what you're able to see here. So when you start working in BI Publisher and with this interface, you'll actually be in constant contact with this screen. This is what we call the home screen, and this up here, this banner, is what we call the global header. And this is where all your work begins. So for example, if I go to catalog, if I wanted to start creating a new data model, I'm going to utilize that catalog to say, okay, let me create a new folder and things like that. Not only is this interface used for BI Publisher, it's also used for a variety of other courses that we offer through BICG, like dashboard development, we also have a repository course where you can also use this interface for a variety of different types of work. So that's a little bit of an introduction for this interface. Okay.